Do you have something that you dream of doing, but every time you move yourself towards this dream, you end up stopping yourself? In today's video, I want to share a quick tip on how to get out of your own way. We all have different parts. One part of you really wants to move towards your goal, towards your dream. But then you have another part of you, and this part is really afraid to put itself out there. It's really afraid of change, of doing anything unfamiliar, to be seen, to be criticized, to do anything that could bruise the ego. It just wants to stay where it's safe and familiar. If I would take myself as an example here, for a very long time I wanted to make YouTube videos, but whenever I would even think about it, I would have a thought that said something like, no one's going to want to listen to you, you have nothing to say, people are going to judge and criticize you. I had all these thoughts. Instead of questioning them, I just believed them. If you are like me, then maybe this part of you has been running the show without you even realizing it. This scared part of me, I don't have to believe what it's telling me. It's not telling me the truth. It will do anything in its power to keep me where I am. And it will use all the tricks it can come up with. It may try all kinds of different tactics. Maybe all of a sudden you feel like you lose interest in that dream. Maybe all of a sudden you feel like you're procrastinating a lot. Maybe you start to watch a lot of television. Maybe all your fearful thoughts are becoming stronger and stronger. It can take any shape or form, but its only goal is to keep you where it's safe, where it's familiar, where there's no risk of you bruising your ego or hurting yourself. But the problem is, you cannot grow like this. If you keep staying safe and comfortable, then you will never evolve, you will never grow, you will never expand, you will never be able to reach your true dreams. Then the question becomes, how do I need to relate to this part of me? And something that I heard other people talk about and that I also found very useful is to treat this scared part of me like a frightened inner child, to see if I can comfort this part of me, but at the same time to always keep moving forward. So I am listening to the voice, I'm comforting it, I'm taking care of it, but I'm not letting this scared inner part of me make the decisions. I, as the part of me who wants to reach for my dreams, I'm making the decisions, but I'm taking care of this scared inner part of me at the same time. It's almost like this. Imagine that you have a child that's very afraid of going to the dentist. There are many ways that you can make this child come with you to the dentist. Either you could forcefully drag the child with you and hold it in place in the dental chair while it's kicking and screaming and crying, or you can sit down and talk to the child and really try to understand what they are afraid of, comfort them, and equip them so that when you go to the dentist office together, they still understand that this is something that has to be done and that you are there with them and that you will comfort them and take care of them. And maybe you have explained more what's going to happen at the dental office. They are still afraid probably, but not as afraid, and they are more willing to come with you. My dream was to put myself out there on YouTube, and one of my fears was to put myself out there and to receive negative feedback. I had a choice then to either not put myself out there and stay in the safe and comfortable, or put myself out there and try to learn how to handle whatever is coming. And I had to try to make myself understand that if you put yourself out there in any way, you will receive negative feedback at some point. It's inevitable. Some people are going to like what you do and some people are going to hate what you do, and everything in between. I cannot control what people think of me, but I can control how I react when people voice their opinions about me. I can decide how I take care of negative feedback. I can decide how much of it I want to take in and do something about, and I can also decide to brush things off if I feel like it's just rude, mean comments for no reason. To me, this was very helpful to understand that I have the power here to decide how I react to things. And I can comfort myself and take care of myself. Did the voice get quiet just because I started making videos? No, the voice didn't get quiet at all. In fact, it got louder. And why did it get louder? Let's say that there is a fence, and behind this fence is your dream. But in front of the fence, there's a police officer. If the police officer sees that you're just walking around and you're not paying attention to the fence, then he doesn't have to do anything. But if all of a sudden you start to look towards the fence, maybe he will say something like, "You're not allowed to come closer to this fence, okay?" If you listen to that, then that was enough of a warning, and he doesn't have to do anything more in that situation. But what happens if you start to walk towards the fence? Then the police officer would have to use more force in that situation. But what happens if you still don't listen and you start to actually touch the fence? Then the police officer has to use even more force to keep you where you are. What happens then if you start to climb over that fence? Now the police officer really has to do something to stop you from getting over the fence. The voice doesn't get quiet just because you start moving towards your dream. It can get even louder, and it can find even more ways to try to hold you back. It will always stick up its head when you're about to try something new. But your only job now is to become aware of what is happening, to try to comfort that part of yourself as best as you can, but to still keep moving yourself forward and not let that part of you stop you anymore. It is just a scared part of you that wants to keep you safe. But just like you would not let a scared little child run your life and make the decisions for you. You would not be able to go outside when it's dark because it's afraid of the dark. You would not be allowed to go to certain places because they are too scary. You would not be allowed to see certain people because they are so scary. And can you see what a restricting life that would be if a scared little kid was running your life and making the decisions for you? It's almost the same thing here. This scared inner part of you is stopping you from doing so many amazing things just because it has these fears. Up until now, maybe you have not even been aware that this part of you has been making the decisions. And what has really helped me is to try to equip this scared part of me so that it can handle what is on the other side of the fence. Does it just need reassurance? Does it need comfort? Do you need to go through your fears and come up with different solutions to if these fears would come true? What do you need? If I started to move towards something and all of a sudden I stopped, to become aware of why I stopped. What was the thought? Or what pattern did I start to use? Why am I procrastinating? Why am I not moving forward anymore? Try to see what is the fear here, but to still keep moving yourself forward and not let that voice stop you. This has been what has worked the best for me. The first part for me was to just become aware that we all have this part of us that is trying to keep us safe, and that in keeping us safe, it is actually stopping us from growing and from expanding. That was the first important thing that I needed to understand. And the other thing was to take care of this part of me, to comfort it, to reassure it, to help it understand what's going to happen on the other side of the fence. But at the same time, to not let it make the decisions, to not let it run the show. Me as the grown-up adult, I am making the decisions, but I'm taking care of this scared inner part of me at the same time. But it cannot make the decisions. I have to make the decisions. If you're in a process right now of moving towards your dream, I have another video about that I will link at the end of this video, and I'll see you again soon.